Okay. All right, we'll call this Board of Architecture Review meeting to order on June 17th at 5:32. So roll call.
Give it 10 seconds,
Okay.
5 to 10 seconds.
Oh.
Yes, 1 second.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we're good. Yes.
Vice Chair Sani,
Yes, here.
Chair Ventimiglia.
I'm here.
For the record, we have a quorum.
Great. Thank you. Moving on to reviewing the agenda. Is there any other item that needs to be moved or added to the agenda?
Not that I have received.
Okay, so seeing none, we'll move on to item number 4, public comment. If there's anyone in the public wishing to address items on the Board of Architecture review that's not on the agenda, please raise your hand. All right.
And
None, Leslie?
we've received no emails via public comment, and I don't see any hands raised on the webinar.
Okay, so no comment, no public comment received. So we will move on to item number 5, approval of the minutes for June 3rd. We just received a draft copy of that. Are there any additions and or corrections to the minutes that you'd like to make? Bonnie?
I didn't see any. Looks accurate to me.
Okay. Lisa's probably reading it.
Okay.
And I do want to just
All right,
apologize.
we just got it. 5
I
minutes.
apologize for the lateness, but I did try to respect what was asked last time to make it a little bit more detailed. So I hope it captures it. If you have any changes, please let me know.
Okay. All right. Assistant City Manager, could I ask a question?
Of course.
Is there a way that the link for the virtual could be added to the meeting minutes?
Absolutely. It's a great idea.
Okay. That way, I mean, that way the record stands for what was exactly said and done. Great. And I think
Okay,
Chair is still reading, it looked like.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It looked like you were still reading too.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So are there any motions or additions, corrections that either of you had? Other than the one that you already made, Lisa?
I'll make the motion to go ahead along with the link being added.
Okay, is there a
Second.
second?
Yes.
Okay,
Second.
it's been second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. Meeting minutes pass. Let's see. All right, so we'll move on to business item 6A, Board of Architecture Review Application 2004 for the design review approval for the construction of the new service station located at 4 Geary Plaza in the Automotive Regional Commercial Zoning District. And a mitigated neg deck has been approved for the project in accordance with the CEQA guidelines. So staff, if you could present the project.
Good evening, members of the board. The project will be for a Costco service station. And this project was reviewed by the Planning Commission in April 22nd and also went before the City Council on May 21st and June 4th for the adoption of the use permit. In this case, it did require the council approval because there was a text amendment being processed with the application to allow for the service station to be at this particular site in proximity within other service stations, and also accommodated the service station standards within the code for the type of membership service station that this would provide. Next slide, please. So the site is in the auto center, and that also was part of the text amendment, was to include a service station to be within the auto center itself, and which was established around 1968. It's currently, as we know, it's dealerships and auto service repair, and this would be the only service station within the auto center. There was a renovation in 2006, which created this parcel, which used to be originally as part of the Dodge dealership, which was demolished in 2005. And the site has since been used as a retail service lot for the Cypress Coast Ford dealership. Now that site is bisected from the main service area, so they do have difficulty in getting service out there, and so they've elected in this case to move forward with a lease agreement with Costco to establish a service station. The zoning code for the site is Automotive Regional Commercial, and the general plan is Regional Commercial. And findings were adopted and evidence in support of the use being permitted within this area of the auto center. And again, from the CEQA standpoint, California Environmental Quality Act, there was an initial study and negative declaration that was adopted for this project. Next slide, please. So the property is at the northeast corner, which now would be of Del Monte and Auto Center Parkway. And we have on the shown with the black square. And on the next photo, we have a aerial, which will give you perspective of how Auto Center Parkway loops back around and connects now with Del Monte and would cut across to Tioga. Next slide, please. Do we click again, or did it not? Okay, darn, I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I must have not been able to carry it over. So the site plan will, thank you. So you can see the mall, which now has become Auto Center Parkway. That area, as it comes from the Geary Plaza area on Fremont and that Geary Plaza entrance, you can come northward toward the site and it loops back and connects into Del Monte. But there you see the entrance into the site. Well, that would be the primary entrance into the facility. It has two-way access. It'll allow for cars to travel northward, where they then would turn left at the top and loop in a counterclockwise into the pumps and canopy. There would be there's 12 dispensers with 24 pumps. We'll note that we have a landscape plan to show, but we'll note that you'll see primary landscaped areas will be at that bottom southeast corner, and at the top there will be where the underground tanks are. There will be other planting to screen that area. There is on a black square at that a black rectangle on the southeast. That is a controller building, which would house the controllers for the underground pumps, and there would be an employee bathroom. Next slide, please. So here's a rendering providing you a view of how this canopy would appear. The colors will have the standard Costco beige with their red Costco lettering and blue for the signage, and there would be a gray color for the support columns. And the controller building would be painted beige to match the facade of the canopy. Next slide, please. So this is a drainage plan, and the main reason why I wanted to bring this up was to see that the primary area where drainage will occur will be towards the southeast, and there will be a bioswale at that location to capture stormwater on site, and they will take advantage of that by also adding some bioretention planting, which will give you an overview on the landscape plan. Next slide, please. So on the landscape plan, again, we have primary landscape areas will be at that southeast corner. There will be a frontage along Del Monte, and there will be a strip of planting that will be at the very northern portion of the site. That gray area that you see with the dots, that's going to be a concrete area, but they're just kind of showing the shading of that area, but it would not be consist of landscaped. And the applicant will do a more overview for you in terms of answering specific questions you may have in terms of the site layout. We'll note that there are 3 trees being added on the Del Monte frontage, and we do have a photo of all the plant materials that I'll quickly go over before the applicant proceeds with their presentation. And there will also be 3 trees planted at that southeast frontage, and it kind of will be right near where the controller building is. So we'll have the ability to kind of screen that further from public view as cars travel on the Auto Center Parkway and on Del Monte. Next slide, please. So here we have some photos of the plant materials. Now, these are very low drought-tolerant plants, as based on the fact that we are under a water meter restriction. The plant materials will have to initially be watered with a truck at this point until we have possibly the meter restrictions removed in the future. So we have coordinated with the applicant on using a drought-tolerant plantscape, and the tree is a Parkinson Florida. That tree will probably grow to about 15 to 20 feet. It has a yellow canopy. The shrubs that I'll go to, the first one on the top left, this is a hummingbird plant. You can see it has some reddish orange planting on the shrubbery. The next plant over, this is a Callistium, Little John. You might see these more as the bottle brush that grow up in more into a tree format, but these are a low growing like a lantana and a type of shrub. So that's what that plant will consist of. As we go to the bottom left, there's a Formium, Dark Delight. The next plant over, this is the plant name is Anazongos Amber Velvet, and you might know it by the kangaroo paw term. And that's a plant you see a lot in some of the parking lots within the newer developments within the Monterey Peninsula. The next plant over, this is a Agastache Kanya Hummingbird Mint. And then the next plant would be an Idaho Fescue. Next slide, please. On the bioretention area, there is the first one on the upper left is a Juncus patens. The next plant over is a Deschampa tuft grass. The next one is an Achillea millefolium. And then on the bottom lower left is a deer oak grass. The deer oak grass you'll find currently is planted in that planting strip between the vacant lot across the street and the Tesla dealership. And this was a specific plant that we had, again, no irrigation available to that planting area. And if you were to look at that deer oak grass currently at Tesla, it's thriving and extremely healthy without any irrigation source. Next slide, please. The lighting plan, I need to correct, I had 4 lights in the staff report, and I apologize for that. There are 5 lights that will be 25 feet tall that would match the existing lights that we have within the auto center that currently frontage on the mall that light the roadway. These lights would have a flat lens. They would be downward, and they would be containing the light specifically onto the project site in compliance with the photometric standards of the auto center. We have on the lower left the cut sheet for the freestanding light, and then you will see under the canopy LED lights. Those would be mounted under the canopy, and they would shine downward under the pump area. Next slide, please.
That's it, sir.
Oh, that's it? Okay, thank you. So what we find overall, the canopy does represent a kind of a canopy that would service that large of a canopy area needed to facilitate the coverage for the pumps. We find that the materials are of high quality, and we have noted in the staff report that the project site itself would be compliant in terms of the related automotive dealership uses that are to the south and to the east. And there's also auto repair uses that are directly to the north. And across the way on Del Monte, we have an auto repair, auto body shop, and auto dealership of Porsche. So staff finds that the overall layout of the site will be compatible with those uses and how it coordinates with the auto center itself. We have included findings that the project as conditioned for the landscaping will be compatible with a low drought tolerant plantscape. City staff would note that there is a condition 7 that relates to water use, and there is a condition in the use permit that would govern the water use in this project, so staff finds that that would not be a necessary condition that would be applicable for the BAR this evening, and we recommend that condition 7 would be stricken, as it really is water related, and it doesn't have any impact on your design considerations for the canopy, landscaping, and lighting. So that concludes staff's presentation.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Rick?
No, no questions from me.
Bonnie?
I'm wondering, can they churn in from Del Monte either way? Either from, the right and the left?
Yes, there's access on Del Monte. You can make the right turn going northbound, and then you can make, there's a left turn pocket at Del Monte to turn into Auto Center Parkway.
So you would enter, oh, I see the curb cuts, I think. Are there 3 curb cuts on the mall side?
Well, they have an entrance. You can see the entrance as you would turn into the site, and then where that pork chop is, that would be the exit egress for cars to egress to either go left or right back to Del Monte, or you can go left and travel back to Geary Plaza and Fremont Boulevard.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's a little hard being virtual. I'm just trying to really get my bearings.
Yeah, the property is oriented to the north is going to be at the top of, well, Del Monte Boulevard is going north-south. So the north side would be at the very top, and that would travel towards LaSalle Avenue, or which is, yeah, the going to the north is to the, that would be towards our restaurant. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of it right now. Gusto's. That would travel to the north. Traveling to the bottom would take you back to the Ford dealership and the other dealerships within the auto center.
Right, and so you can turn in from Del Monte, you would turn into the auto center, and then you leave from the mall area? Is that
correct? Cars would loop in as you go northward. You make a left as you loop on that travel lane, and that takes you into under the canopy. And there will be systems that will guide customers as to the openings that would be available within under the gas canopy. They have systems and lighting that would direct people into the pumps.
Okay, and I do see the turn lane there. So I know from other Costco gas stations, it gets busy. So I just wanted to make sure there was something for traffic. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
All right, Bonnie, any other questions?
No, no other questions.
Okay, great. Could we have the applicant please come on the line? And do you have anything else to present or speak to this project?
Good evening. This is Sean Anderson from Berghausen Consulting Engineers, one of the many Sean Andersons on here tonight because we used my login. So, but we do have the design team available. It doesn't sound like there's anything that's necessarily standing out, but I think Rick covered the project well from a design standpoint. As mentioned, the site is we're restricted in terms of the landscape due to the water moratorium out there on the peninsula, and so we've taken a very efficient approach to try and make sure that the plants selected are going to be able to be robust enough to withstand the water restrictions. But we do have a plan to provide water trucked in off-site to help them get established initially. That's all detailed in our landscape approach. And then as far as the canopy and the control enclosure are concerned, it's a design approach that is consistent with the warehouse, with the purpose being that initially members will just want that recognizability to learn where the facility is, and then once it becomes a learned location for the members, then the members they know where to go after that. And so that's kind of the approach that we just really wanted it to be consistent with the warehouse. And then finally, in terms of its siding as it relates to the lighting element, it's central to the site. The type of fixtures used are able to limit light spill very effectively, as you've seen in the photometric plan. By the time you get to the peripheral of the site boundary, there's very little light bleed in particular towards, for instance, the hotel and the across the alleyway there. It's less than 1 foot candle at that corner. So highly effective in the way that the lighting design has been approached. I think that's really all I have to mention, though. And as I said, Rick did a very good job covering the rest of the design. So if you have any other questions, please feel free. We got the whole team here and are happy to answer.
I just wanted to make sure that I understood the circulation to get to the gas station. So the only way in is either from the mall or or from the alleyway to the southeast, is that correct? To get to the one-way lanes to get to this pumps.
So the intent of the design is that members would access the facility from the mall, driving up into the queuing lane and then, or to the stripe lanes on Costco's property, and then take a left into the queuing area that would then rotate around into the fuel dispensing area. It's a one-way circulation design. So
Right.
there's only one way in, one way out. The curb cut onto Del Monte is only intended for really the fuel truck to be able to come in, deliver, and then exit out. So it won't be designed in a way that members could use it as a site entrance. It'll be an exit only cut onto Del Monte.
Okay. So how many cars can you queue up? Or how many does this allow you to queue?
Ooh, that's a good detailed question, and I can't remember the exact answer to that.
Can you queue up where the
I-
arrows, like the arrows are before you get to a pump? Is there just a one car queuing at each row?
You know, the space does allow for more than one vehicle in each of the dispenser line areas. The exact number I can't recall, but I might ask our traffic engineer to step in and maybe provide a bit better description of how the queuing was designed, how that was.
Yeah, Sean, this is Amy Lopez. Hello, members of the board. I'm happy to answer the question. It sounds like you're interested in generally understanding how many vehicles can be waiting in the queue area. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so we've laid out this as we worked on how to lay out the site in the most efficient way possible. And the queue storage area can accommodate anywhere from 25 to 32 vehicles, kind of depending on the vehicles actually in the queue. But that's part of the siting, and the configuration of it on the site is to accommodate as many vehicles as possible and use the space effectively for the flow of traffic.
Okay.
And that number does not include vehicles sitting at the pumps themselves. So in addition, then you would have all the vehicles already
Right.
actively filling, and then members who are in queue.
Okay, so you have 24 positions at the pump?
Can we see the design again?
24 cars, one.
Yeah, it's probably helpful for everyone if we have it in front of us to, visualize.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at mine that I have in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 24 cars that could be at the gas pump itself. And then you have another only 24 to 27-ish in the queue.
So the queue storage area can accommodate alone, that's within the two queue storage lanes that are kind of have that sweeping curve, can accommodate around 27 vehicles.
Okay.
And on the occasions when members are approaching, there's room for as many as 5 more in that left turn that's within the alleyway that's accessing it, that's all contained within Costco's property.
Okay.
The intention is that, and this is an amount of storage that is commensurate with storage provided on other similar sized sites. So, evaluating the queue storage area and the expected maximum queues, this queue storage area is expected to meet the maximum queue that we expect at this site. And that's based on queue data from numerous other similar Costco fuel station sites.
All right.
Yeah, I just need to input that this was fully analyzed. So from the standpoint of your findings this evening, this is an approved layout, and it's only the design aspect of the colors, landscaping, canopy, and so forth that you'd be reviewing this evening.
All right. So.
But we're glad to answer your questions, though.
The other question I had was the concrete area to the right as you get into the queue lines. Is there a curb or something so you don't drive on that area? Or is there anything that will be driving on that area?
I want to make sure I'm appreciating what your question is. Can you state it once more for me, please?
Sure. As you drive into, from the alleyway, the roadway into the site in the double queue lane off to the right, isn't that a concrete paved area?
It is not.
It
I'm
is
sorry.
not.
No,
That is
it would
cross-hatched.
Correct. So that's all a level surface because the movement that a fuel truck will make to turn into the space, those turn movements are larger than what a personal vehicle makes. And so that area has been would be a striped but continuous surface so that a fuel truck can maneuver within the space to make that fuel drop and then maneuver out. But members would be guided through the storage lanes as shown.
Okay, so it is all a flat paved surface, just it just, like you say, striped, so it's like a no zone for the cars.
Correct.
Okay. And then there's landscaping, obviously, on the other side of the paved area. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does anyone else have any other questions of the applicant?
No, none from me.
Lisa?
There was a question on the typed, so when we get to that.
Okay. Just when you're on the mall roadway and you're going to take a left turn to turn into this driveway on your, is there a left turn lane? Will there be a left turn lane to make that left turn? Is it just one lane to go left?
Yes, currently it's just one lane.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I do have a question. Are the canopies sloped or are they straight? Do they have a small slope to it?
As far as what will be visible, it's a flat roof canopy, the metal wrap fascia around the edge of it.
Okay. I keep trying to click on it. Assistant City Manager, could you go to number 7 just to see the visual again? Thank you. So I'll go ahead and ask the question if there'll be solar panels on the canopy too, which was also asked on the public, but I don't see that as part of the design. Is that correct?
That is correct. There will be no solar installation at this site. It's a question that gets asked from time to time, and the reason being that for a canopy of this size, there's not a huge gain or benefit that the site would get from installing solar panels. And then also, as far as the canopy design is concerned, it's the initial approach, or at least approach we take, isn't really designed to incorporate just a design perspective. So for various reasons, solar won't work on this canopy design.
It will not work, or you chose not to put it on the design?
It does not work. The benefit's very minimal, and the requirements in terms of structure and design just start to exceed what the intent of the canopy is for the facility.
Thank you for answering that.
Yep.
We can.
Sorry, that's mine.
All right, any other questions of the applicant? All right. We'll close it and open it up. Are there any public members of the public that have questions that they'd like to ask of the applicant or that they'd like to make a comment on this project? Leslie, can you let me know if there's any?
Yes. If you would like to make a comment, if you could please raise your hand on the Zoom webinar, and so we know you and we'll allow you to speak. I don't see any hands raised, and I have not received any emails.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we'll close it to public comment. And so, board members, do you have any further discussion? I think we've all seen or been to these garage gas stations previously.
Yes.
And so I know a lot of members are have asked about this before, and a Costco gas station is highly desirable. Anyhow, any other comments to the landscape plan or anything else?
Well, as far as gas station design goes, I like it. I love that it matches the Costco building, very professional, obviously, and simple. So as far as the landscape, I like that it's the drought tolerant and it's going to be less water to maintain. And that's what I've come up with. So I like it overall.
Okay.
I'm
Thank
fine
you.
with it as well. I'm sure that the landscaping, we saw what was in it. Overall, they've got drainage plans and the site plans. I think the biggest concern I had was the flow. I realized maybe we're not supposed to look at that, but I think it's important for our community as well, as we've seen in other locations in the city. So I'm grateful that they've got, a place. And I've been to these gas stations and I know how busy they get. So that was, as I reviewed, that was my biggest concern at the time.
Great. You and me both. So I can just imagine a line in the mall lining up to turn left to be in that queue, or coming from the other direction as well, just
Yeah.
being in that alley and clogging it up. But anyway, it's, as Rick pointed out. Yeah, other than that, I don't have any other concerns. I'm glad that they have trees on Del Monte and as well on the mall. So any motions? And we're also going to address the number 7 in the findings, I believe. Correct, Rick? That you would like to strike number 7 of the findings? Or
That'll be conditions. It'll be
conditions,
condition
okay.
number 7.
Okay, condition number 7. All right.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the design as presented tonight with the condition number 7 included, and I'm looking for that condition right now.
That they strike that condition.
That condition is striked. Comply with the applicable requirements of Marina Coast Water District. Okay.
I'll second the motion.
All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve the project with the number 7 condition to be striked. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, so help me here, Leslie. This project can be appealed to the Planning Commission within 7 calendar days. And to contact the city, contact you, Leslie?
Please, they can contact me either by phone at 831-899-6707 or by email at cityclerk@ci.seaside.ca .us appeal, and I can walk them through the process. And it has to be done 7 calendar days. Yes.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next item. Let's see, sorry, I'm trying to get my agenda. Item B, Board of Architecture Review 20-05. The Bradley Zeev, at the commercial building on 1123 Fremont Boulevard for the installation of a mural on the building is requesting design approval. So staff?
All right, good evening. This is Community Development Director Gloria Stearns. If I fade out, somebody please wave your hands because my internet connection is not always the best at home and I can see you. So if I fade out and I stop, please wave. This mural application comes to us from Bradley Zeev and the Monterey County Weekly, which is located at 1123. The building is at 1123 Fremont Street. This is on a commercial corridor, one of our major commercial corridors, and there's commercial applications to the north, the east, and the south of this building, as well as the west having the Weekly there. Next slide, please. I have some site photographs just so you can kind of see. We all know the taqueria that is next door to it, and we know that you can actually see this from Fremont when you're heading north. You may not see it when you're heading south as much, but this is the location where they would like to have the mural go, and you can see that it's a second-story location. Next slide, please. This is an image of what the mural would look like, and we know if you're a reader of the Monterey County Weekly, that figure is familiar to you. But they just thought that it would be a nice addition to give them a pop of color on the mural at that, or on that part of the building, as it was just a plain beige building as you saw before. So the request is to have a mural that will be approximately 12 feet by 6 feet in design, as well as having serve the purpose of employing a local artist. Right now, during coronavirus, we have had a problem with artists maintaining living and not always qualifying for unemployment because of the nature of how their work functions. So the more art that we can promote in the city during this time, the better to continue to support our artists. So not only are they helping to beautify our city,
Uh-oh,
I think we might have lost her.
yep. Gloria, we lost you.
I see you.
Okay,
I see you. Okay, I see that. Okay, I'm back. All right, thank you. Thank you. That worked great, by the way. So not only does this support a local artist, it beautifies our community. And I saw that Bradley Zeev is out in our list of participants for this. So if we needed the applicant to speak, I think he's willing, but if he doesn't have to, he would be willing to do that too. So with that, I will defer to your questions. Thank you for the waving, by the way. I truly appreciate that.
all right. Great. Does anyone have any questions for Gloria?
I actually have a comment, but I'm not sure when to state it. So it's kind of in general about the whole project.
Okay. Do you
Shall I-
want to wait till the applicant,
Okay,
have them speak if they want to on the project?
sure. Thank
Bonnie, Lisa, do you have anything that you want to ask of Gloria?
I think what is the process with murals for the city? Is it really just a matter of submission and opinions, or is there any guidelines overall for us tonight?
Yeah, I think your internet cut out.
Do we
Oh.
lose you?
One second, so she comes back.
Maybe we could move forward and ask her in a minute or hear.
Okay,
Yeah, we do have we do have a process for it and a policy. So whenever she comes back, she can explain that to you. If she doesn't, come back, we can.
okay. Shall we give her a second? A minute?
Or would you like to allow the applicant to speak?
We can do that as well. If he's on.
Mr. Zeeves, if you'd like to make a comment, you can unmute yourself now.
I have unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
No.
You know, I don't know if I have much to add except the idea was pretty simple. We wanted to add some color and support a local artist. We're working with the Arts Council of Monterey County. They helped us identify and select the artist. The Arts Council is also in the Weekly building. So they've been very much a part of this process. And that's really all I have to say. I hope you like it.
Yeah. So I just have one question of you. Is this blue color only on this facade?
Okay, gotcha. I'll put you on speaker in a second.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. No, that blue color is almost wrapping around the entire building that is painted. This is a Charles Moore building.
Yes.
And so much of it is block color, so a sort of a beige block. But Charles Moore was pretty well known throughout the world for really colorful buildings. And in fact, he was part of this, the original periwinkle that the sun's made it a little more blue, but that is the primary color aside from the brick color on the building.
Okay.
I think they just repainted it. I noticed the blue just recently. Is that correct, Mr. Z?
Correct. Yeah, this is on the south-facing wall, so it, as you can imagine, it gets a lot of heat.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions for the applicant?
Well, I guess in relation to the direction facing, I noticed on the last mural that was approved, it's a beautiful mural, and it actually has an underwater theme as well. It is on a south-facing building, and already I think it looks like it could use a touch-up, like it's faded quite substantially. So have you taken that into consideration?
Yes, we have. There's the specific paints being used are resistant to fading, and that's part one. Part two is we'll just take care of it. We've been in this building since 1991, and it's been a constant project to upgrade it and keep it as good as it's looking. So I've absolutely no intentions that it will not be kept to look as good as it will initially.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. Lisa, did you have any other questions?
No, I don't.
Okay, great. Thank you. So is Gloria, are you back?
Yes.
Yes, in a way.
All right. Can you respond to Lisa's question?
I never heard it. That's when I was gone. So if you could repeat it, Lisa, I'm sorry.
No
Okay.
worries. No worries. Absolutely. We're glad to have you at least on the telephonically, if nothing else. My question was, are there any guidelines for murals? I think we've looked at one and we've got two tonight. So I was just looking for any guidelines that we have within the city for us tonight.
Right. Usually what we do is we're directed by our code. We're supposed to look and make sure that it complies with other parts of our zoning code. And in this case, we check the context of the mural. Like, does it fit in with the context of where it is and the setting? Like, is it proper, or, does it kind of match our community, and is it consistent in character? So does it help it, or is it something that might be a little too much for some people. So this one, according to our findings that were in your staff report, we did indeed find that it complies with our zoning ordinance and our municipal code, and that also it is indeed in character with the context of the neighborhood in which it's situated, and that it would not be detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of the general public.
All right, thank you, Gloria. Okay, we'll open it up to public comment. If anyone has anything they'd like to comment on in regards to this mural project, you can do so at this time. Please raise your hand so Leslie can see you and unmute you.
Okay,
Anything in, Leslie?
no, ma'am. No comments have been received via email.
Okay. All right. Seeing none, we'll close it to public comment. And if there's any other discussion, I think I like the look of this. I think it adds a lot to this facade. And any motions, any other comments to this proposed mural?
I guess I'd like to make a motion to approve the project.
All right, is there a second?
Second that.
All right, thank you. So it's been moved and second to approve this project as proposed. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Thank you. All opposed? Any opposed? None? All right, motion carried.
Right. Thank you all.
Thank you for that as well.
I just want to add, I think it's going to actually look really nice with squid on there. The blue really stood out to me as I drove by, and I think the yellow will add a lot too. So thank you for what you're
Thank you.
doing.
Hopefully the taqueria is going to sell a lot more squid.
Yep.
Oh, very special, huh?
All right.
Thank you.
So if anyone wants to appeal this project, you have 7 calendar days to appeal it. Let's see, and contact the city clerk, and Leslie will take it away.
Okay, and you can contact me via email at cityclerk@ci.seaside.ca.us or by calling 831-899-6707. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the last item of business. This application number BAR 2006 is requesting a design approval for a mural on the commercial building located at 500 Broadway Avenue. Staff.
All right, so it's Gloria Stearns, Community Development Director again. And this time we have a mural application for the 500 Broadway building, which is also known as Deja Blues. So that's our local blues club, comedy club, and during coronavirus, they've been doing a lot of takeout food. And just recently with Broadway shutting down, they're doing more barbecue and things on weekends. So they're trying everything they can, starting a new business during probably what might be one of the worst possible economic times, but they're doing whatever they can to be successful, and it seems to be working for them. Next slide, please. They're also in a commercial area. As you can see, there's commercial uses on their east, the north, and the west. There is multifamily residential to the south of them. So you can see behind the building, there's multifamily residential. But the area of interest is the wall that faces west. So that's the side that you can see in this picture. And then on the bottom picture, I'm showing you a more current picture of what they're doing. I happened to go by and the artist was just kind of mocking things up with how it would look if he was doing it. So that way they could get an idea of what the measurements would be and the more information, because they had originally proposed a mural that was more square in design. And they realized that the building is actually, the mural will end up being about 10 feet by 15 feet. So it's going to be rectilinear and it's going to be longer and about 10 feet high and about 15 feet long. So I just wanted you to see what the conditions are of where that mural is. Next slide, please. So this is the concept sketch in the lower right corner of this slide. This is what they gave us initially, and it was just a sketch, just a quick, overnight sketch that somebody did. And many of you who are architects or involved in that field, you do quick concept sketches. And what they wanted to do was highlight jazz greats. And I think that's a really nice thing because we have a lot of blues fans here. Our Blues in the Park is one of our most popular events at the city. And this blues club is expected to be popular as well. So he started, you can see on the left-hand photo, they started mocking up different people that they wanted to feature and highlight just so we could get an idea of what it might look like. And so it doesn't look like they will be using, because the Deja Blue name is over to the left, they won't need the Deja Blue name within the mural. Because of the placement. And I don't know if they're going to have the elements that tie them together the way they had depicted in the concept sketch, but I think it's going to be more of a collage of the different jazz greats. And I actually was able to meet the artist, and the artist is also a local person. So again, people supporting our local artists, and I think that's important, especially right now. And not only that, we'll be able to see their art every day. This is a building that was recently turned into Deja Blue and renovated, and the owner is highly motivated to make sure that he keeps the mural in good shape. I heard you asking the questions of the prior applicant about maintenance on the mural, and this owner is very motivated to keep his building looking fantastic. And then when and if he ever has to close his business, the owners have asked that he may paint over it. And I'm hoping that if we get a mural that we absolutely love, that maybe we can convince them the opposite and let it stay up for a little while. So with that, I end my presentation about the Deja Blue mural at 500 Broadway. The applicant is unable to make it here tonight, but I could do my best to try to answer any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. I have one question, real quick. Is the photo that we see to the far right, is that like the extent that the mural will go till?
Left is going to show, I think it's kind of like he mocked it out. So I think if you assume the building is probably about 12 feet tall, I think he's doing about 10 feet of it in mural. And then if you take, 1.5 times that height for the width, I think we're about where we're at. I think we're getting about the width of the mural on there. From where you can
So it's
kind of mocked out.
okay. So they're not going to go that much further to the south, right? That's about the end.
That's my understanding, is that this is about where we're at, because it's a 10 by 15 is what they gave me for the measurements.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions of Gloria?
No, no questions from me.
Okay. Lisa?
I've been able to, I actually saw it this weekend, and it's exciting to see, and it certainly fits with the current theme of that restaurant as well. I also met the artist and was able to talk about kind of some of the artists that he's putting on the wall. He's got Whitney Houston there and Ellington and just lots of great artists. So I think it's exciting.
Yeah, I think it'll be a nice addition to this blank wall.
Yeah.
Especially, you see it, this is the main, one of the main entries into Broadway. So I think it'll tie nicely with the use of the space. Okay, so if you all don't have any other questions, I'll open it up to public comment for this project. If you have any questions or would like to comment on the project, we're opening up to you. If you could raise your hand. So Leslie, are you still with us?
Yes, there are no requests to speak on this item. And I do
All
apologize,
right.
I have to jump off and get onto the police town hall meeting. So
Right, so we'll be wrapping it up here shortly. All right, so seeing no public comments, we'll close that public comment session. And if there's any other discussion or motions for this project?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the project as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Okay, it's been moved in second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's wonderful to have these in our community.
Yes.
Okay, opposed? None. So motion carried. Thank you all for that. And if you'd like to appeal this project, you have 7 calendar days to do that, and contact the city clerk for that. And she can be notified at 831-899-6707. And Leslie, you want to fill in the rest?
Or it can be emailed at cityclerk@ci.seaside.ca.us.
Great. Thank you. All right, so that's the end of that. Is there any, okay, so I lost my agenda.
Reports from board members.
Any reports from board members?
None from me.
All right,
Just a barking dog, sorry.
that's okay. Do you have any reports, Lisa?
No, I don't. Just maybe a moment of silence for the Reed family.
Did they find?
Yeah, unfortunately, the news is not good. So, and she is a commissioner. The mother is a commissioner in Seaside, and so just a moment of silence for
For
and
Aaron?
they're lifting them in prayers tonight and this week.
All right, thanks for that. I knew him. He was I think a year younger than my son, so they played on a couple teams growing up and stuff. So yeah, that was a shock. Any other reports from staff? This is Rick's last BAR meeting. So he's retiring for 30 years of service. So I wanted to thank Rick for all of his help through the years. He and I have been on, have known each other for about that long. So I wanted to congratulate you, Rick, and wish you well in your retirement. And hopefully you'll come back and visit us sometime.
Yes, thank you.
Do you have any other last comments for us, Rick? Or have you left us already?
He looks like he's there, but he's muted. Looks like.
He's muted. I hope you're not talking. There you go.
Now I'm unmuted. Thank you. I was talking and I was muted. No, I appreciate, working for the city. Next chapter will be great. I'm not going to be taking it easy. I'm going to keep trucking on. And I thank you, Kathleen, for working in the trenches with me. Lisa, or Lizanne, I appreciate what you mean, your earnest effort that you want to put into the city. We appreciate you volunteering, and same for Bonnie, even though we had a little shorter time than Kathleen. Kathleen is probably one of the longest standing commissioners or board members in the city, outside of probably me. So anyway, I thank you, and we'll keep in touch, and I will not be a stranger, and I will try to participate in stuff that we have for the city. Thank you.
Wonderful.
You're going to comment on our projects, Rick?
I think I might, yeah.
You're going to be a member of the public that will come to every meeting because you just don't know what else to do on Wednesday nights.
I'll be a civilian, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, great.
Congratulations, Rick. All the best to you in the future.
And this is Gloria jumping in for just a minute, if I may. I would just like to remind everybody that tomorrow there's a council meeting at 7 o'clock, and this is a barn burner because this is our budget. So we'll be taking a look at staffing. There'll be discussions about police staffing, plus looking at planning staffing. So at 7 o'clock Thursday, everybody who is interested in city government, and I think this is one of those years that you should pay attention to city government and take a look and join us for the city council meeting at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for that. All right, any other business? If not, we'll take the next motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes, thank you. Is there a second?
Yes, second.
All right, so moved and second, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. All right, thank you all.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you guys again. And I believe July 1st is the next meeting.
That is correct. All right. Have a good evening, everyone.
Yeah, have a nice evening. Thank
Thank you.